we have to talk about Joe Montana, the acclaimed football analyst, who said that he thinks the 49ers can win a Super Bowl avec Brock Purdy. Do you agree with him? Oui ou no? I'm going French.
I like why. It. No, listen, on 49ers After Dark, it's your world, Grant. We're just living in it. Whatever you want to do, I am game with. Usually I get hyphy Grant. This time I get bilingual Grant. I absolutely love it.
Real quick, I like your shirt. Who's on it?
NFL Jam, Bryce Young. Come on.
Okay, all right, answer my question. What do you think of what Joe Montana said?
I mean, the way he prefaced it was, if Purdy played the way that he did last week, then yes, absolutely. I don't know if that's even the case. I mean, Purdy played well, but the defense really is what it comes down to. The defense held the Dolphins to what, 21 minutes of possession? Like, that's pretty rare to do to any team. The Dolphins have been susceptible to that throughout the season because they pass so damn much. And we saw even in limited possessions that they were able to score some quick strike touchdowns. So I think there's some of that goes into it, but I want to reverse engineer this for my answer. My thought process has to be, did I think that they could win a Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo? And my answer was always no. A lot of reasons for that.
Me too.
So a lot of reasons for that. However, then the question becomes,
Can I give one?
Yeah,
I don't think you can dink and dunk your way to a Super Bowl in 2022. Continue.
You may be able to. You may be able to. I don't know if I agree with that fully. I see what you're saying, though. I see what you're saying. Okay.
Who was the last quarterback who dinked and dunked his way to a Super Bowl victory? Maybe Nick Foles in the RPO year. I don't know. Although Nick Foles threw a nice deep ball. A nice deep ball. I'm just saying.
He also had, like, I think in 3 games, like 7 touchdown passes and 1 interception in the playoffs.
He balled out
for 300 yards every game.
He was great.
Like, yeah,
he was great. Yeah.
So that was a whole different thing. But so then the question becomes, do I think that right now Brock Purdy is better than Jimmy Garoppolo? No, come on. That's disrespectful. That would be disrespectful. And no. So if I didn't think they could win a Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo, why would I think that they could win a Super Bowl with somebody who's not as good as Jimmy Garoppolo? That wouldn't make any sense. So I'm going to say no, they cannot win a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy.
I'm intrigued by Brock Purdy, though.
Me too.
He throws on the run better than Jimmy Garoppolo. He might have more touch than Jimmy Garoppolo. And he might even be more accurate than Jimmy Garoppolo. But just, you're a rookie. And you were not really practicing. Like the rule, you don't have enough time to give your third string quarterback or your backup quarterback real practice reps. He was working with the scout team. So now all of a sudden the Niners are going to have to try to teach him every possible blitz look that the Bucs have shown this season in a week. That's rough. So I think at a certain point, just him being a rookie will come back to bite him. Like, I think an interesting comparison for this Niners, not dynasty because they haven't won anything, but like little run, is the Buccaneers from the late 90s in the early 2000s. Lynch was on that team, and he's the architect of this team. That team's quarterback was Trent Dilfer, and then he got hurt, and then Sean King was their quarterback as a rookie in 99. And he took them, right? He took them to the NFC Championship game, and they lost 11-6 to the eventual Super Bowl champions, the Rams. So if you kind of look at the Niners in that lens, maybe they're a couple years away from winning the Super Bowl when they find their Brad Johnson. But maybe Brock Purdy is their Sean King. It's a lot. Look, Joe Montana, I don't know how many predictions he's gotten right as a football analyst, but it's a lot. There's a reason that no rookie quarterback in the history of the league has ever won a Super Bowl. There's a reason. It's a lot to ask for him.
It is a lot to ask for. And I also think that people fall in love with backup, or in this case, third string quarterbacks way too fast. Way too fast. It's like, oh, they play a good game or even 3, and you're just like, oh, this dude is it. He's something different. We should replace the starter. It happened in Dallas this year. It's happening right now with the Jets. It happened with the Patriots. Just this year alone, those are 3 teams. Yeah. And then all of a sudden that guy gets exposed for who they actually are. And it's like, oh, shoot, I was really wrong about that.
Yeah, where's Bailey Zappi now, right?
Right.
He got drafted ahead of Brock Purdy. So I'm saying, like, Brock Purdy's a great story. He put up 33 points against a Dolphins defense that was giving up 32.8 points per game on the road. Now he's got the Bucs. Like, this whole Cinderella story, he could become a pumpkin on Sunday. I hope he doesn't, because I'm enjoying this. I really am. But the NFL is tough, and he was the last pick for a reason. Man, some people were saying he's got like a stronger arm than Jimmy Garoppolo. Maybe on the eye test it looks that way. I don't know what Jimmy's spinning these days. He probably had more zip back in the day, but 51 miles per hour for Brock Purdy at the combine, that's on the low end, man. You said Christian Ponder? That's Christian
51.
Ponder. And Christian Ponder was 6'2" and ran a 4.7. Like, he was a better athlete. And the reason Christian Ponder had such a low miles per hour is because he was coming off like shoulder surgery. His shoulder was jacked up. I mean, Purdy is just, I'm sorry, but the scouting in the NFL isn't that bad. It's not that bad. The whole league didn't miss on this guy 7 times.
Yeah, it can happen, right? It can happen. It's not impossible.
Brady's the example. That was literally not 22 years ago.
Kurt Warner, I think Kurt Warner's an example of this. Look at how
that's
great
even longer.
Right.
That's even longer. Yeah.
It can happen. However, there are certain intangible. Okay. Tom Brady.
What's the most recent example? What's the most recent example of a 7th round or undrafted free agent dude who became a franchise quarterback? Dude who just slipped through the cracks. Who?
I can't.
Taylor Heineke? I mean, come on. No. Ryan Fitzpatrick? But I mean, he came in the league 20 years ago. Is this guy a little Ryan Fitzpatrick-y?
No, like I said, I'm telling you,
because Fitzpatrick got paid. He
got paid
money.
Hella. Yeah, he did. Absolutely,
yes, he
did.
Yeah,
absolutely. Here's the thing about Purdy is you have to have an elite trait or something you can hang your hat on. What's his elite trait? So if you're going to project, what is Brock Purdy's elite trait? He does some things good, but he doesn't do anything just uber elite. Tom Brady has an elite arm. I don't care what anybody says. That dude has an elite arm. And he always has. He always has.
A big Brock Purdy supporter would say accuracy. Like, to me, the Brock Purdy thing, he's Mac Jones minus 2 inches. Like, he's got nothing on his throws, but he seems to have good ball placement. He seems to have touch. He seems to have good footwork. I mean, the thing with Mac Jones was, like, once he had to play in the winter, it was like, man, you have no zip on your throws, and it's a problem. And I think that could happen with Brock Purdy, too. Like, he's got no zip on his throws. He makes Jimmy Garoppolo look like Dan Marino in terms of arm strength. I'm sorry, Brock. He's a lot of things he does really well, though.
I do think so. I am on the record in December of 2020 saying that I wanted Brock Purdy to be drafted by the 49ers going into the 2021 draft. Now, he didn't declare. And at that point, I actually felt comfortable with him as like a 3rd or 4th round pick. And I think his stock was probably higher then. Him staying, I believe, hurt him a little bit. That's just me personally, because he regressed every year. Statistically, he regressed. He may not have regressed as a player, but he regressed every year statistically. I think that hurt his stock. I think he could have been drafted higher. So I actually do believe in Brock Purdy as a long-term backup for this team. I was excited when he was drafted. I mocked him to us a million times over. I like Brock Purdy, but I'm also realistic in who he is and who I think he's going to be. And I think he's a long-term backup. That's what I think he is.
I got a better comp for him than Mac Jones, because that's a stretch.
You like a Christian Ponder one?
I like a Christian Ponder one. I got one for you right now. Tell me if you like this one.
Okay.
Colt McCoy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Colt McCoy.
Yeah.
Colt McCoy. Gonna be in the league a long time.
Yep.
People love him. Sneaky athletic. Decisive. Accurate. Colt McCoy.
A little undersized, not the strongest arm.
But there's a place in the league for him, for sure,
for
a long time.
Of course.
And, you know, frankly, I think he's a hell of a backup. But you see what happens to Colt McCoy if you have to play him for 4 or 5 weeks. He's not going to win 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
He won't.
Yeah. And the thing is, though, is he might with this team, right? He might with this team, but there is going to come a point. It may not happen till the playoffs, because it's not like they're playing some of the best teams here. And even the teams with good defenses, can be ran on. And so now all of a sudden the game plan is we'll just run a ton. It may not happen until then, but at some point the league will catch up to him. And when they do, what does that look like? What does that look like? And, you know, for Jimmy, it took 5 starts. He went 5-0 with the 49ers. Nobody caught up to him till the very next year.
Maybe Brock could do that because Brock's got 5 more to go, right?
Yep.
But my question, like, I think Brock could do that because there's no book on him. There's very little tape on him. Maybe he could take advantage of the league the way Jimmy did. My question is, Kyle, Mike McGlinchey, offensive line, Niners, can you keep this quarterback upright like you couldn't keep the other 2? Because their pattern is, like, we should get ready to see Josh Johnson play soon. So, Brock. Because they didn't adjust to the Dolphins. Are we still on topic? They did not adjust to the Dolphins' pressure. Their adjustment was freaking Brock Purdy, like, juking dudes and completing throws while taking shots. Like, that's not sustainable over the long haul. Kyle needs to help him out. We need to move on, though.
I also think long term blitzing him is not the answer, because one thing that I'll say about Brock Purdy, and it's shown up for years, he's decisive. He does have a quick release, and I think he has good footwork. I don't think blitzing him is the thing to do. What you want to do is play soft coverage and make him throw tight window throws 10 yards and further down the field, just like you would with Jimmy Garoppolo.
The reason to blitz him is not because he's susceptible to it. It's because Kyle.
The offensive line. Okay.
No, both of them. But, like, what happened in the last game was they were getting free rushers. The Dolphins were simultaneously getting free rushers and successfully covering the hot routes. The Niners were totally scouted, and Kyle has to fix that. You can't, like, you could argue it got Jimmy hurt. So Kyle has to fix that right now. Because Todd Bowles is watching me like, ooh, oh, no answers for this blitz and that blitz? I have that blitz. I can do that. So let's test him. And it's a rookie quarterback. You already know what an experienced DC is going to do to a rookie quarterback. I mean, he's going to light him up right away. Send a message, first series, and see how they respond. And it's not even on Brock to me. It's on Kyle. So we shall see.
Absolutely. We'll see how he adjusts.